Hello and welcome to this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you an overview of the board's program of activities for the first half of 2018. We will hear from the General Manager, Mr. Nizam Hassan, and Deputy General Manager with responsibility for quality control and the Rice Research Station, Miss Alison Peters. We will hear about the many successes the board has realized for the first half of this year. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Berbice. We will be back with details after these messages.
The GLDA is advising the general public that the transport of animals from one administrative region to another must not be undertaken unless permitted by the competent authority within that region. It should be noted that the transport of cattle, sheep, goats, and swine should only be done between 6 hours and 18 hours. Persons wishing to transport animals out of the region should first contact the GLDA's regional office or representative or the GLDA head office on 220-6556. This requirement is intended to safeguard the health and safety of our animals and citizens. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, the Ministry of Agriculture.
The control of red rice through careful management of water levels in your rice field for the first 40 days is critical to your yield at the end of the crop. Water acts as an agent to control red rice and even other grass weeds at a depth of 4 inches. With proper land preparation and leveling established, maintaining a light flood continuously until the canopy is fully developed will suppress red rice establishment. Leaving the land exposed for any length of time will give weeds an ample chance to germinate and infest the field. Panicle cutting should be done prior to shattering. The second cutting exercise should be conducted at 20 days to control panicle regrowth. Water management is one of 3 critical interventions for the effective control of red rice. A message from the Guyana Rice Development Board, Ministry of Agriculture.
Do you know that the smoke emitted by mosquito coils contains pesticides? Mosquito coils registered by the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board for sale contain pesticides that have been approved for use in homes in accordance with label directions. These are found in supermarkets, pharmacies, and other pesticides vending sites countrywide. The use of illegal mosquito coils is dangerous to human health, especially children and the elderly. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture.
A look at the GRDB website under About Us. Interested persons will be able to read about how and when the board was formed and what it was designed to do under the act through which it was established. The interested party will learn the following: that the GRDB was established in 1995 in pursuance of the Guyana Rice Development Board Act No. 15 of 1994. The 3 entities that were controlling the state's interest in the industry prior to the formation of GRDB were dissolved. The roles of these entities, the Guyana Rice Export Board, GREB, Guyana Rice Milling and Marketing Authority, GRMMA, and the National Paddy and Rice Grading Center, NPRGC, have been usurped and are now pursued by GRDB. The main objectives of the GRDB include developing the rice industry in Guyana and promote the expansion of the export trade in the said industry, establish facilities for the conduct of research relating to rice and extending to rice farmers through an established system the benefits derived from such research, to engage in such promotional and developmental activities which the board deems necessary for the purpose of developing the rice industry. Over the last decade, the board has overseen the consistent growth of the local rice industry, which, with the introduction of the 6-point plan for improved production and productivity in 2009, has seen farmers realizing yields per acre of 38 bags of paddy, with many reaching as high as 60 bags per acre in some parts of the rice cultivating regions of Guyana. This is up from a national average of just about 20 bags per acre. Over the last 3 years, the national paddy production figures has been hovering around the million-ton mark, despite the many challenges farmers have been facing. This was the case with the first crop this year, and projections are that that million-ton production mark will again be realized in the second crop, harvesting for which is already underway. In the year of exports, the GRDB has presided over the continued expansion of Guyana's rice markets overseas, with Latin America and the Caribbean accounting for the majority of exports so far for this year. The work of the Guyana Rice Development Board is handled through several key departments. It's the work of these departments that complements the efforts of our farmers, millers, and other stakeholders. Focusing on the performance of the board for the first half of this year, GRDB's General Manager Nizam Hassan disclosed that by all yardsticks of measurement, the board has done well for the period under review.
GRDB has had a solid first half performance, reflective and indicative of the services that the agency provides and continues to provide to the various stakeholders. Let's start with the work of the Extension Department, providing training, capacity building, monitoring of farmers' fields, giving the advice where necessary and where applicable. And I say indicative because we have seen from the production of the first crop, over 500,000 tons of paddy has been produced and over 300,000 tons of rice, the rice equivalent being produced. Also indicative because we had the product, we were able to service our markets and so on.
A critical aspect of the GRDB's role in ensuring the continued growth and development of the sector is ongoing and consistent training of farmers and other players within the industry. The extension arm of the board has been intensifying its training sessions with Guyana's farmers during the first half of this year.
Let's talk specifically about some of the work that the Extension Department does. Firstly, we have extension services being provided in all of the rice producing regions, Region 2, Region 3, 4 and 5, and in Region 6. We're involved in the sale/distribution of the seed paddy that is produced at a research station. And I say sale/distribution because we want to ensure that, notwithstanding that we're selling it, that it's sold to farmers across the country as against one group or one set of farmers or one region of farmers getting the kind of quality of seed that we're producing. We also inspect various seed plots that are used for production of seed. The Rice Board, apart from it producing seeds, there are other farmers across the country that produce seed, and we inspect their seed plots when they're involved in seed production.
In its many training programs of farmers and other stakeholders over the past months of this year, the GRDB has focused on getting farmers aware of the importance of employing proper agronomic practices in the management of the crop at every stage, through to harvesting. But according to the GRDB General Manager, this is a small part of what the extension arm of the board has been engaging in. He elaborated.
We've provided services to farmers in terms of training, in terms of managing their crop, the agronomic practices, the insect management practices, fertilization practices. Generally, across the life cycle of the crop, the various things that farmers can do to help improve. Over 500 farmers have been interacted with directly. This is notwithstanding that there are other farmers who would have come across our extension officers on a daily basis that would extend to that number. Through our services, farmers have been able to improve various practices in terms of crop husbandry. Another aspect of the extension function of the Guyana Rice Development Board is that of data collection. We monitor the land preparation, sowing, and we also monitor harvesting. Weekly, monthly, annual reports, Weekly, monthly, and annual reports are prepared with regards to how the crop has progressed or is progressing depending on the time. And of course, then there are other activities that the Extension Department is involved in. For instance, we've done some training sessions on disaster risk management, which is a collaborative effort with the FAO office. Here is a small FAO project. And also, we've started some working along with other agencies in the Ministry of Agriculture with regards to exposing residents in the hinterland areas to research and crop cultivation and crop production of upland rice. That's a small project that has started as we engage our hinterland communities to assist in addressing food security issues.
Pointing to a 43% increase in exports and a 44% increase in export value over the same period last year, Mr. Hassan said that together with the efforts of the Extension Department, the Marketing Department has also turned in a solid performance for the period under review.
Another set of services provided by the Guyana Rice Development Board is in the area of marketing. We have a marketing department that firstly receives, reviews, and processes export license. Thus far, for the first half of 2018, we've issued 21 export licenses. In terms of the export of rice and the various products, rice, paddy, and the byproducts, all export must be approved by the Rice Board. And as such, in the marketing department, the contracts and the various purchase orders and so on would normally be received, reviewed, and submitted for approval. We've approved over 500 contracts during the first half of 2018. Additionally, to support the export is the preparation of the various documentation. And we do the full process, including couriering the documents to the export destination. So broadly, for the export, from the time the miller or the exporter gets a contract, he supplies the Guyana Rice Development the contract so that it can review and ensure that it's compliant with all the relevant areas in terms of which it needs to comply with, with regards to the quality of the product, the pricing of the product, and other issues that may be specified in the contract. After that contract is approved, and the miller or exporter prepares their shipment, the various documents that are necessary for the export trade are prepared by us and are then sent to the buyer. We also have a shipping and logistics department that manages the contract between Guyana and Panama. And that's the contract that exists between the Guyana Rice Development Board and the Institute of Agricultural Marketing in Panama for the export of rice to that country. This involves coordination with the Millers Association, the shipping lines, and with the millers themselves. So a lot of behind the scenes work is done in terms of the logistics for arranging weekly or fortnightly shipments as the case may be.
The board has also recognized the need for Guyana to move from being just a producer and exporter of rice to a country that is engaging in value-added production with the commodity. According to Mr. Hassan, over the past months, significant progress has been made in this regard.
Guyana has primarily been an exporter of, let's say, the primary product, whether it's paddy or rice, or the byproducts being the broken rice and bran and so on. The way a value chain is developed, it involves manufacturing products or downstream products from the main product. And as to support this, the Guyana Rice Development Board has done some research work. It's an ongoing process of doing research work in terms of adding value to our rice and our paddy. We've done some work with blended flours, making products, primarily bakery products with blended flours. That still is in the research stage. We've done one aspect of it, the century evaluation. Now we're looking at the shelf life. Research has been on the shelf life of those products. We will then continue to do research on adding value and downstream processing of rice.
Here's an important notice. Do you know that it is illegal to import, store, distribute, sell, and purchase antibiotics without a license or prescription, as the case may be? According to the Antibiotic Act of 1952, owners of livestock and other animals are not permitted to purchase and use antibiotics unless prescribed by a veterinarian. It should be noted that the misuse of antibiotics could result in the development of resistance to the very antibiotics, which in turn will pose health risk to the animal and to humans. The GLDA advises that farmers should not administer antibiotics to animals unless prescribed by a veterinarian. Non-compliance with this act will result in fines and imprisonment. A message from the Ghana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
The Guyana Rice Development Board is reminding farmers that the effective use of insecticides for managing paddy bugs require the following steps. Mix the insecticide properly. Fill the motor blower or spray can halfway with water. If insecticide is a powder or granule, then dissolve the recommended rate in a bucket before adding it to the half-filled blower or spray can. If the insecticide is a liquid, then add the recommended rate directly into the half-filled blower or spray can. Shake the containers containing water and insecticide. Add water up to the 13-liter mark, then shake again. The sprayman is now ready to spray. Determine the swath based on the wind direction and speed. Ensure overlap of the spray mixture for best results. Be warned that in order to be effective, the spray swath needs to overlap, especially when there are more than one worker applying at the same time. If the spray swaths do not overlap, the bugs will thrive in the unsprayed areas. They will continue to feed and multiply. A message from the GRDB, Ministry of Agriculture. Another key department of the Ghana Rice Development Board is the Quality Control and Research Departments. These departments are overseen by Deputy General Manager Ms. Alison Peters. She reported that the Quality Control Department and the operations of the research station have been significantly boosted during the first half of 2018, declaring their operations better placed to serve the interest of the rice industry.
The Quality Control Department operates under the mandate of the Rice Factories Act, its regulations and amendments. Also the GRDB Act No. 15 of 1998. Most of the work done by the department is instructed based on these acts. Mill licensing forms a very integral part of the operation of the industry and the work of the department. 62 mills were inspected during the first half of the year, with the inspection commencing on the second day of January each year. 42 of those mills have been licensed for the first part of the year, and they are licensed according to regions. 10 of those mills were licensed in Region 2, 7 in Region 3, 14, which is our largest region of operation. In Region 4 and 5, 14 mills were licensed, and 11 in Region 6. So that brings us to a total of 42. When the mills purchase paddy during the crops, we have licensed graders at those mills who operate on behalf of the Rice Board to certify paddy at those mills during the purchasing. Those persons are licensed by the board, and it's a continuous process. For the first half of the year, we licensed 61 persons, and the 61 persons that were licensed were also trained in the first half of the year were also trained during the first half of the year in the continuing performance of certifying rice and paddy.
Throughout the year thus far, the Quality Control Department has been conducting training of staff and all stakeholders in relation to the application of the new international standards in the grading of paddy. This new standard is to be applied from the first crop of 2019.
Department is going to use the GYS 211, the revised version of the standard, during the first crop of 2019. We'll turn to that new standard. And in order to be ready, we have trained our own staff, 4 to 5 quality control staff, along with the 6 to 1 licensed graders that are present in the industry right now. That was conducted during the first half of the year. And so we have over 100 persons who are aware and are qualified to operate the new standard.
The Deputy General Manager also disclosed that the GRDB certification laboratory has also been recertified for the third year running by the body responsible for ISO certification as meeting the required standards of competency.
The laboratory system at the GRDB is certified to the ISO IEC 17025 standard, and we are accredited by the Jamaican National Agency for Accreditation, otherwise known as JANAC, and we have been certified for 3 years running. During the first half of the year, we had a surveillance audit by JANAC to ensure that we are still complying with the systems, the quality management systems that are needed to upkeep our accreditation, and we have been certified to continue the accreditation system for the balance of the year. That was done in April.
So how much product was certified for the year so far?
One of the main functions of the work of the quality control departments is certifying rice, paddy, and all rice byproducts for export. During the first half of the year, almost 300,000 metric tons of rice and paddy and the byproducts have been certified for export. The rice and the byproducts that are certified for export is also fumigated by the department as part of the phytosanitary control and the requirement for entry into overseas markets. And this is also done by the department. A key factor of the certification of the rice and paddy for export means that not only the almost 300,000 metric tons is checked. The almost 300,000 is certified, but from this amount, some of the rice also is rejected before it actually leaves. So what is exported here is what is actually of the quality for export. So I just want to bring that out. We also certify rice for local sale at the mills that do not have licensed graders. So that's part of the work of the quality control department. And we are going to look at heightening the certification of rice for the local market during the second half of the year.
Reporting on the work of the GRDB's Rice Research Station at Burma, Maikoni, Ms. Peters disclosed that significant progress has been made on the quality of seed paddy produced there. That work is ongoing. Other highlights of the year so far include the release of the new high-yielding variety GRDB 15, advances in the plant breeding department, pathology, etc.
The work of the research station was basically done according to the projections and the work plan. One of our highlights from the research station was the release of a new variety, GRDB 15, in the month of April. This variety has had good reviews from farmers who have used it in the field. And coming out of that, at the research station, we have, for the second crop, produced over 56 acres of this new variety, which we expect to give us over 2,300 bags of seed, C1 seed that will be sold to farmers within the industry. This is in conjunction with GRDB 15 that we already have in the system being utilized by farmers, being produced by farmers, that is. And we expect another 18,000 bags of GRDB 15 at least to be in circulation as seed or as paddy to be utilized at the mills. At the research station, our work continued in the plant breeding area because we're always trying to produce new varieties to be used within the industry. Towards this end, the plant breeder and the department would have made 54 crosses for variability, hybridization, etc. In the department, over 7,000 progenies of varieties were grown, and these are being studied with a view to producing new varieties. In the pathology department, we did over 147 advanced rice germplasm were evaluated for diseases, mostly blast, and we do most of the upland blast trials at Kanji. We are doing some at Wales and also in the Blackbush Polder area. And so far, these trials have been good. Our varieties are quite resistant to blast under harsh conditions. The agronomy department have been studying the use of a lot of the fertilizers, especially in the nitrogen, and how it works with the varieties.
Looking ahead to the rest of 2018, the Deputy General Manager said that work across the board will be accelerated with the return of key personnel from studies overseas.
The work of the research station will continue for the next half of the year with greater emphasis on our research work. It will be boosted by the return of several scientists to the station, along with the present research scientists that we have here. We are going to look at the installation of the seed cleaning facility, and this may be done towards the latter half of the year. At least we will commence the work of the seed cleaner. There is also the GRDB MARDI reverse linkage program that is supposed to commence at the latter half of the year. This will bring some upstream products, the study of upstream products to the industry, along with the possible implementation of 3 new varieties into the system. And that work will run for the next 2 to 3 years, commencing in just around October, November. At the research station too, we are committed to bringing new varieties, and we have strengthened our work with the flower body, which is a Latin American irrigated fund that releases varieties for the Caribbean and Latin American countries. As we speak, we have our plant breeder in Colombia sorting some germplasm for the production of new varieties, possible production of new varieties. So all in all, the research station will be continuing its work to assist the rice industry in terms of new varieties, higher yielding varieties, larger quantities of seed for production within the industry, and research advice to the industry, basically our farmers and millers.
Well, that's all the time we have in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based East Berbice is handling the production details. And of course, we will be back again next week with another edition of This Week in Agriculture. Until then, be good to yourselves and to each other.